Okay, welcome to this working demo. This is meant to go along with the tutorial that I just uploaded. That tutorial is really about getting people in and out of Blender and getting the maps and the data out and getting into whatever paint package you want. This is going to be a bit more from scratch, starting out. When I want to dirty a livery, what do I do? And then getting into Substance Painter. How do you work with normal maps and with the textures and whatnot? We'll do just a little bit of that. I think I can keep it under an hour if I'm not having to do all that other stuff. This is going to be just a bit more focused on the work. I'm going to show off a couple of I'm going to show a Python script I have. I'll show how to work with the MSFS texture toolbox. We'll just do a little bit more here, and so you'll get kind of a more of a working demo. I'm going to worry a little bit less about editing and things like that. I'm not going to be sloppy, but you'll just kind of get to see me work a bit. Well, I'll talk through it the whole time, but it should give you a better sense of kind of how to work. If you haven't done texture work before, this is going to be a little bit more valuable to you. You'll still have to find Blender or some other tool to do the texture painting work in, because probably Substance Painter in 2017 is not available to you. But you can use stuff like Marmoset or like any of the other like great packages out there to do the work. So anyway. Let's get going here. So I actually have a livery that I'm going to dirty. If you're dirtying a livery, you can go ahead and start with one, especially if you're doing it for yourself. What I'd say is that if you're going to upload liveries, you should really check with the livery creator to make sure that they're good with you using their livery. Otherwise, you should just author one from scratch. And I author with using Affinity Designer or Adobe Illustrator. You can lay down vector art and whatnot, and you can work on these. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole lot more work. I don't enjoy that work because I like dirtying them up. I don't like doing all the precision work, but I'll do it when I want to actually create a livery. But we're not going to do that here. We're just showing you how to dirty one up. And again, if you're just using it for yourself, who cares, right? So hopefully everybody can just be chill about this. And we're creating content for free that other people enjoy and everything. And it'd be different if we were wanting money for this stuff. So I appreciate Archer374. Thank you for letting me borrow your livery for a second here for this demo. So I downloaded that guy. That's actually the guy I was going to work on yesterday, but I think I screwed him up in the process of creating it. So we've downloaded that livery. It's sitting here. So what we want to do though is it's got this blue orange on here, and I want to get a new livery. I used to go through and rename all this stuff and have to go through and change all that, and that's where you start to get into problems. Anytime you're hand editing these text files, it's going to be problematic. You got to be really, really careful. So I try not to do it as much as possible. And I have a Python script that's lovely that I'll show you here now. So if I open up a terminal, actually, let me just do it on this page. And we will go to all apps. And we'll go down to terminal, QRST. And we will go to... we're going to go to d:/. What I have is I have a tools directory in my Fuselage work livery area. I have a tools directory with this Python script. We're going to do a version creator. And we can go ahead and paste that here. So if we cd there, we've got our version creator. So if you run my Python script, you have to install Python. But if you do, and you hit enter, it'll show you the usage. So we're going to run this, and we need the initial directory. So we'll come over here. You have to get the whole name. And what we're going to be doing is we want to replace blue-orange, or classic blue-orange, classic_blue orange, with something else. So we'll say classic blue-orange is what we want to replace, and we want to replace it. We want to put in Fuselage blue. Hit enter, and man, I'm so glad I wrote this back when I did. Hit enter, and it goes through and runs and says it's completed. And if we go here, we now have Fuselage blue here. And if you open up the layout JSON, it replaced all those. If you go down into the directories, it replaced all those. If you go into the texture configs, it's replaced in there. So it does all of this that you would have had to done by hand. So in terms of getting that created, and I'll put a link, a Google Drive link to this, to my Python script here. And as I write more, I will I don't know. I'll either add them to these videos or I'll try to make videos. Maybe I'll upload a toolkit once I kind of get a full toolkit developed. In any case, we have our faux flights blue that we want to work on now. It's great. And if you remember yesterday when we were working on our liveries, or from the video, not from yesterday, but from whenever you watched that video, in our livery area, we had gone ahead and imported that into, we got the original textures from the Asobo model. And the value in doing that is that a lot of times when you download these liveries, it may be that they've only touched the fuselage and the wings and the tail, and usually they've only touched the albedo. They don't have like all of the other textures. So converting like the base asset, it's not a bad idea just to have like, you would not have the struts or you wouldn't have the wheels if you want to paint on them. So doing that kind of full conversion, and then now what we're going to do basically is I want these textures baked out as well and converted, because I want to mix and match. I want to combine these. I'm going to want to paint the struts. I don't think this livery had it or something. In any case, you kind of get what I'm saying. So so what we're going to do here is we're going to create another original textures directory. So we'll say original textures. I'll just say blue. And this is just a directory just to keep those. So, and then what we're going to do is we're going to run one of those Windows PowerShell scripts. So if you remember, we have this MSF texture toolbox. Now, I actually, here, let me do this. I actually know, because I started this demo a second ago, that if we look at this script, and I tried to explain this yesterday, but I'm going to do a little better job at it. What the search pattern that this is looking for is N, E, and A, and PBR. And the problem is if I run this script on that directory, because those textures in that livery, if I go, where's my livery here, and I go to the texture directory, they've got albedo, they've got comp, and they've got norm as the A, the E, the A, the N, and the PBR. And it's going to search for this, and every single one, it's going to say, I don't recognize this. What is it? And I'm going to have to answer it. It wants to assign these types because it needs to know that to operate on them. So I'm going to create a copy of this script. So let's go ahead and do that first. I'll probably end up having a couple of these. And actually, I'm going to rewrite this texture toolbox probably in Python and make it a little nicer. So, but in any case, and I really appreciate the guy that did this. But let's see. So we'll just say this is albedo is what we're going to call this one, and that's because if we see ALBD, that's what we're going to run this one. So now if I edit this script in Notepad, what I want to do is I want to say if you find norm, it's N. If you find albedo, it's A, and if you find comp, it's C. And now I've got a version that will run that won't harass me endlessly and keep me here for half an hour answering questions. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a Windows PowerShell. So if you hit your Windows key and you type PowerShell, you should see it come up. It's on my right screen over here. So I'm going to run as administrator, and I'm going to go to the toolbox directory. Actually, I'll grab one less so that way I can tab to it. All right, so if I go there, I can now run my, this guy. So I'm going to go DDS to PNG. And actually, what I'm going to do first, because I don't want to muddy up this this directory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these. So I'm going to sort by type, and then I'm going to grab all these DDS images that came with this livery. And I'm going to Control C. I'm actually going to come over here. I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to paste them in here. And that way, when I run the script, it's going to drop them all here. So I'm going to hit Enter. I want to run it once, and it's asking me where's the path to this directory. So I'm going to give it this directory. And what you're going to see is it's going to whip through them because, what is that? Wait, did I type in the wrong one? Oh my God, I ran the wrong one. All right, I don't know how to stop the Windows PowerShell, so I'm just gonna, I can't remember how to actually terminate the process. So we'll say I'm a Linux user. I'm not a PowerShell, Windows PowerShell guy, even though I've been on it personally for a long time. But all right, we'll run as administrator. I can't believe I just did that. we have our script we're gonna run. Let's see, do I have, yeah, so I can, if you use the up arrow, you can get back to your old commands, and we want to run this one. And actually, that's good. You saw what that was. That was going to ask me for every single one of those. So I'm going to say run once, and now, it's kind of fortuitous, actually. You get to see what the consequence would have been. So now it's going to sit here, and it's just going to run through those. So that's why you do that, right? Like it was asking me, hey, I found albedo. Is that A? I found norm, is that N? And so what you're doing is you're just changing what it's searching for. So, and it really should, it should have a couple of options there, and maybe I'll either revise that script, and you can see it's populating these guys in here. So in the meantime, we've got our, we can still use our model from yesterday, so we still got our FBX. So we can go ahead and launch up Substance Painter while this process runs, and it's going to go ahead and convert all those DDSs to PNGs, and we'll then have them available to bring them into Substance Painter and start doing our fill layers. And then where we find gaps, if we find that we don't have struts or something like that, we can grab from that kind of a SOBA list. So no, and then we're going to do new, and we're going to select our Skyhawk FPX that we exported yesterday. We'll keep with 1K, and that's all I'm going to do here. I'm going to say OK, and it's going to go ahead and bring this in. And in the meantime, while that's running, we're going to go ahead and clean up our names as we said yesterday. So if you watched the video, the original tutorial, we're going to change this to glass. I'm going to change this guy to struts. Lights, livery, these are all correct. Wheels blurred is not correct, so it should be wheel, it should be all caps. Wheel blurred, and it should be all caps. Wheel static. All right, great. And we've got those all set up, and we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake my data maps. So I'm coming down here to bake textures. I don't have IDs. And this is, again, creating those procedural textures that will be used by things like the procedural materials to create cracking and things based on edge detection and stuff. I'm not going to change any of these other parameters. I'm pretty good with kind of the default. And I'm going to set this to 4K. And I'm going to, the reason I run it 4K is that these are not the maps that you guys are going to see. These are all kind of internal for driving the effects, and the higher quality those are, the better. I'm going to do 4K, so I don't have to wait here all day for these to run. These take quite a bit to bake. I'm going to go ahead and bake all texture sets, and in the meantime, let's just check that PowerShell, and I will pause the video here so you can see that ran, and you can see all of these PNGs came out. We can go ahead now and we can get rid of these DDS files. That's why I did it over here. We'll get rid of all of these. And now we have the PNGs from our version. Wait, where? Let's see, Fuselage albedo. Yep. So those all came out. Okay. So we will. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pause this while my bake process runs. I'm going to go get some coffee, and I'll be right back. Actually, while that bake process takes place, I've decided I did get my coffee, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and rename some of these things that didn't get renamed. So if we go back to the faux flights thing and we open up our manifest, this is going to have some things about how our thing is going to be represented when we load it. And so we're going to call this faux flights blue, and I'm going to keep that consistent. I'm going to be adding faux flights blue to a lot of these labels and whatnot. Title matters because there are times where it's keying off of this under some of the panel stuff. So you want to make sure that you're aware that I think when I ran into the Comanche, that this title was getting used for their like procedural way that they were handling some of their stuff. They got a kind of a slick registration fall through thing that they do. So in any case, it's going to be Fuselage blue with a capital letter, and you should just be consistent in what you're doing. So don't try to have too many conventions in one livery because you're going to get stuff wrong. So let me just, I know the layout JSON's not going to need anything. And then let me go into here. Let me just double check this. Sorry, I burped a little bit there. I apologize if you heard that. All right, so Skyhawk here, we're going to call this Fuselage blue. Skyhawk blue and orange, we'll call this Fuselage blue. Blue. Created by, yeah, thank you, Archer. Much appreciated as a base. And I'm not going to upload this. Again, I would never do this to someone. I did one guy pushback, and then I just went ahead and authored. I created my own versions of liveries that look like his. So I just don't know what all the fuss is about. So we've got this B01. We're going to keep that in. Again, that gets appended here. I think it's for the, let's see, was it the Kodiak or one of them? No, it was the Comanche. Comanche, they keep all their textures together. So you end up having, do I want to go down this? Yeah, let me just show you. Let me see if I can. Aircraft, Comanche, where are you? I've got a lot of aircraft. I've spent a lot of money on this damn sim. So if I go into the Fuselage, sim objects, airplanes, I think I actually have to go to the original Comanche. We've got a minute while that thing bakes. So let's go community. I think it's under A to A. Oh, sorry. That's not what I want. I want this guy. So if you look at the Comanche, and I took on the defaults, right? And so you can see here, it's texture dot. And so the way that you can have multiple texture sets is you can have texture dot, and then that extension is what you would have multiple versions in here. So if you go to their aircraft config, and this is a bit deeper than probably you need to go, but it's in case you encounter this. If you go to the aircraft config for the Comanche, they have multiple versions. So you can see each one of them is using that texture label to key off of. So that matters, right? So that's what it's doing, is it's using the variation name to tag onto the texture variant. So that's how you can have multiple texture sets with one livery. But we're only going to do one, but I'm just explaining to you kind of how that generally works. So in this case, we're good here. I can't even remember how I got into that. Oh, wait. Fuselage. Yeah. We'll just save this, and we'll close the aircraft config. Go back to where I was. It's always hard when I go on one of those tangents. I got to make sure I come back and finish doing what I was talking to you guys about. So if we open up the texture.config, looks like that's all good. And then let's go back to the panel. If we open up the panel config, that's all good. So generally the panel is not going to contain text data in there. Again, the Comanche, they have this kind of crazy slick system. And again, if you want to, we'll probably change, although the white numbers look good here. If we go with an off-white or something, we might want to dingy them up. So you might not want pure white. You might want to get one of those hex deck numbers that's just kind of an off-white. And you know what, we'll go ahead and do that in a minute here. So let's go ahead and get back to our livery here. That stuff is all done now in terms of creating those. And you can see I've got kind of a soft occlusion. I'm going to go ahead here and now start. I know that by default, I have to get rid of these kind of height things. So I just like to do all this up front. I'm going to get rid of the height attribute. And what this is doing is I'm telling it which channels each texture set has to have. And again, texture sets correspond to materials. I'm not going to paint on the windshield. I don't care about that. Wheel static, I'm definitely going to touch. So we'll get rid of height, and we'll add ambient occlusion. I'm going to get rid of height and add ambient occlusion. Height and ambient occlusion. I might be able to create a preset for this. I haven't really looked into it. So propeller side. Let's see what. I don't. Those names looked suspicious to me. So slope, prop, blur, and then let me see, does the original textures have view list? Propeller side blurred. I don't even think this is a complete list. But anyway, I'm not gonna sweat that right now. In any case, I'm actually not gonna worry about the propeller for now. So I don't want to hold up this whole demo. So livery 1, 2. Let's say we're gonna do the struts. So we're just gonna do some right now. We'll do. We can get rid of the height map, and we can add the ambient occlusion. The fuselage we're definitely gonna want. So we can get rid of the height. We don't use bump height. We're using normal maps, so we don't worry about the frost. So we can actually turn a bunch of this stuff off, but the thing is you got to turn it, like each session it resets, so I don't spend a lot of time turning these things off, but in any case, I'll do it right now so that it's cleaner. So these are going to be wheel static is what we want. So wheel static, did I do that work? AO, yep. So we got AO there, we got AO on the wings, that's great. Tail landing, I'm just double checking. AO is great. Struts, I did AO, just making sure I did all these. Fuselage AO, and we'll get rid of the last. So we're just going to touch the struts, fuselage, tail landing, wheel static, and wings. That's all we'll do for today. So unless I hit other ones that'll be it. So we're just going to work on this set of things. So now let's check this. Oh, I think our PowerShell script has run. That's good. We can go ahead and close that up. So now we can get these livery textures in here. So if I go back to the original textures blue, I'm going to grab. If you remember, we split out the metallic. So I'm not going to grab any of these comp files. So actually, let me view by list, and let's grab normals and albedos is what I'm going to grab. I'm just going to grab all of them, and I'm not going to worry about the comp. I also have to do something, actually, before I copy that in. What I want to do is, before I import stuff in, I did make a mistake the other day. Let me get rid of the alphas. I have a couple of, I'll just show you. So I have stuff that actually got imported into my, basically into my library of oh, you know what? Can I not? You know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I accidentally brought these into my shelf. Can I just delete that whole thing? Yeah, there we go. But I think they're still in here. So the problem is that I pulled these into my, you can have them just as part of the session or part of the file, and I actually made them as part of my, like my root base. And I don't want to get confused in here. So let me just delete this stuff. Is there a way to, again, I don't want to hold this up. All right. I was looking to get rid of those so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. We're just going to import all of our textures here together so that I'm going to grab all of these so that way I can get them onto a common shelf. Or you know what? I'll tag them with a name. So let's. I don't have any comps. These are all good. I'm going to pull these in, and I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to give it a tag of faux demo, and that way I can just filter for that, and I'm going to import them as textures. So alphas would be single channel images, which would allow you to use them. It's probably not a distinction it's a little clumsy. I have to imagine Substance Painter doesn't have anything like that anymore. So here's our faux demo. We're ready to go. I'm going to bring it into my project, PBR Metal Roughness, and I'm going to go ahead and import that, and those all come in. And then let's go ahead and also grab, we'll also grab from our export that we did yesterday. I'm going to grab these original textures. I'm going to pull these in, and I'm going to call them, just so that way I can filter for these and not get confused by those other ones. I'm going to call this faux 172, and these are just tags that allow me to filter for these now. So if I get rid of this, I can now say faux demo and get back to that, or I go faux 172 and get to those. So great. So we've got those in, and now lastly, what we'll also do is we have to get our metallic roughness and occlusion maps in. So let's grab these in. Let's grab, I imagine that brought up the window, yep. And then we'll grab these. I'm just grabbing these off screen here. And then we will grab the roughness ones. And these are replacing those comps. So those comp images, these are the broken out roughness, occlusion, and metallic maps. So we're going to call this faux, this will be faux demo as well, because these are going to be replacement. We didn't get the other ones. So then we'll say texture. We'll go ahead and import those. We'll import those to the project. So those come in. And now, now I've got, just because I'm in the spirit of importing textures, I have in my livery resources. Now, in terms of resources, let's see. So you could go to, let me see, Texture Haven. Yeah, so Polyhaven is a great free resource for, it used to be Polyhaven, Texture Haven, and HDRI Haven. I think they're all kind of the same haven now. These are free to download. I think this might be run by the Blender guy, the guy that does all the Blender, the donut tutorial and all that stuff. I think he runs this site, I think. And anyway, these are free textures. So you can get dirt textures, rock, and stuff like that. And when you download them, they will have often have the normal maps and the roughness and all that. So you can use this as a resource. As well, you can also use Quixel Megascans if you want to buy some. Now, you didn't hear it from me, but if you have an Epic account, because it's owned by Epic, you can use Quixel Megascans with an Epic account and have free downloads as long as it's in Unreal. So you didn't hear that from me. You get free downloads from Quixel Megascans of their decals and whatnot under an Epic account, which is a free account. Epic is Unreal. So if you create an Unreal account, you might want to do some work in Unreal. But you didn't hear from me because, anyway, you probably get what I'm saying. Texture Haven is fantastic. So throw that guy support if you use his stuff. He's great. So he does a lot for CG generally, especially for hobbyists and stuff. I really admire all that. I love that whole Blender community. I don't use Blender at all, but love that whole community. So anyway, I've got some textures I've done. I've got my Oxnard stuff. I usually like to throw some logos on there. These normal maps, so let me show you what those look like. These, what I did is I went into Maya, I created a plane, and then I created a duplicate of the plane, and I sculpted it a little bit. And this is used to kind of warble the metal. So I basically created a normal map. I baked out a normal map that I could use. There's actually two degrees of them. And this allows you to just kind of warble the metal a little bit. It's not that perfect aluminum framing or whatever it is. We'll grab that as well. So I'm going to grab all of these. I don't want the dead body. That's for my Comanche. On my Comanche, I have in the walk around when I open up the luggage compartment, there's a no dead bodies sign in there. So I'm going to grab these textures in. I'm going to grab, I think I've got some mud and tire tracks. The tire tracks are super useful for doing, let me make sure those are getting in there. Yep. So let me grab a couple of these. They're useful for just reverse putting them on the wheels. I just line them up and even though they're meant to be for tire tracks in the mud or whatever. So, all right, we'll grab that. Grab that in. And then go back to the resource directory. Let me grab some mud textures here. So I'm just grabbing some base textures that we're going to work with. Actually, I've got some dirt ones I want. Those are the ones that are just the best. think is it dirt damage? Yeah, these are great. So I'm going to grab these in, and I'm actually going to do something with these. So let me see here. Did these come in? Tire tracks? No, I think these did not come in yet. Okay, so those are in now. So we're going to bring all these in. Let me grab all of these, and we're going to call them texture, and I'm going to call it faux textures. And this is just so that I can filter in the app here. And we're going to import those in. So those are all going to come in now. And then I'm going to go back. And the thing is that if I want to use these as rubbings, like if I want to use them as alphas, I have to bring them back in as alphas. So I am going to bring them in a second time. So that last time I brought them in so that they can be used as a texture. And now I'm going to bring them in so that they can be used as an alpha. So I'm going to grab those, and then actually a couple of these other ones. Wait, where was I? What the heck happened? Dirt damage, resources. So let me view medium icons. So I'm going to grab some of these black and white ones because I'm going to need them as alphas. So let me grab those in. And then I think, where was my tire damage? My tires need it too. So if I go to tire tracks 1, this guy, and you have to bring them in as an alpha to be able to kind of use it as a mask to just paint where the white is. So you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna grab all those in. So let's just grab those for now, and we can come in here, we can grab all of these, and we can put in, we're going to make them alphas. So we brought them in as textures before. Now we have them as alphas as well. And this is going to be faux textures again. And we'll put them in there. All right, great. So now we've got kind of probably everything that we need to import in, and we're all good here. So now let me, I like to go in here and get a kind of nice pretty picture going here. So let me change the opacity here. Let me change the scene. Let me change the blur. Get rid of the blur. Oh, I don't want the interior. I don't want a gazebo. I want, let's see here. I know that one works, but let's see, is it this one? That one's kind of cool. Just something to evaluate the work against. Is it? I think it's this guy. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, great. I actually don't like the sky one. There's another one like this, but it's so directional. It's actually doesn't really give me a good impression. So I'm actually going to grab this guy here. All right, great. There's a guy standing back there. Anyway, so great. So we've got this in here now. So now if you remember, we've cleaned up the names, we've baked our textures, we've done all that stuff. Now we're going to start building some passes. So I'm actually going to delete this. I'm going to start building back up the textures. So you remember we've got that horrible default of 3. And I come down here and I do, I'm going to filter for faux, what was the, there was faux C172, faux blue, is that, no. 172 was for the original. And then, oh crap, I can't remember. I can't remember the original. Is it down here? No. Anyway. We'll do it live. It's great. All right. It's great. All right. Actually what we can do is we can sort for fuselage. So there we go. So let me bring that in. I'll put that texture on. You can see that dropped right on. We want the normals. So these are different. Let's see which one. Norm PNG. Let's see. What was this? It's albedo PNG. So it's probably anything that doesn't have the PNG is what I want. I knew it was going to confuse me. So, and then we've got the metallic, the occlusion, and the roughness. And there you go. So now we've got that on there. And you can see it's a little doughy, but that's because the texture set is set to a low res. The nice thing about Substance is it's non-destructive, so anything we do, if we want to up-res it, we just change the base resolution. So I'm going to go to the texture set settings, and if I set this to 4K, you're going to see it's going to sharpen all up. So there you go. I'm sure that you can work at 8K now. I can export 8K, but I have to work at 4K in Substance because of the 2017 version. So anyway, you can see we've got the ambient occlusion on there. Let's go ahead and get a couple more of these set up. So if we go to struts and we change this to strut, so you can see this is actually, we only have one texture set, and that's because that texture set does not have that. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this guy, and we're going to create a fill layer, and we'll go ahead and grab the base color. We'll change our horrible default, and we're going to do our normals, and we'll get this thing all pieced together. So we've got our metallic, and we got our occlusion, and we've got our roughness. All right, great. We'll come down here for tail landing. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to create a fill layer. We're now going to want tail. Great. So now we've got, I'm going to drop that on there. We're going to change our horrible default. And we're going to put the non-PNG version. I'm just looking at the name. And what these are the duplicate images from the Asobo one, and I want the livery that I downloaded as those base things. Occlusion roughness, great. This thing is coming together. Wheel static. So if we put in wheel, we want wheel static because we're going to get blur as well. So there we go. So you can see the wheels weren't done either, so it helped to have the Asobo one there. We'll delete this, add a fill layer. We're going to do base color, normal, metallic, and occlusion, and roughness. All right, great. So we've got, as you can see, the struts are screwed up. There is something wacky about the, oh wait, actually, before I shoot my mouth off, let me just fix that. Oh, that was the wheel static. Let me double check. Yeah, so there's something off about the struts. They get used by another material or something, so their texture gets a little goofed up. I'm not sure what's going on there. In any case, that's like I ran into that with a Kodiak where, man, they really messed with me. They messed with the cargo pod. The UVs change between versions, and the assignments change. So like there's this gear equipment pass and the cargo pod. I had to create two sets of textures, and that was such a pain in the ass. So when they try to be efficient, it really hoses you. It's really much better when they're explicit. Oh, we've got the wings to do as well. So let's go ahead and get rid of that pass. Go ahead and create this. So we'll put in wing here, and then we're going to go ahead and do. We'll grab our base color. We'll get rid of our terrible default. And that's the UV tiling. We're going to put in the normals, put in the metallic, put in the occlusion, and we'll put in the roughness. So there you go. So look at that. Looking pretty good. It's great. We can spin the light around, check it out. It's great. Okay, great. So now, let's say I want to get in here, and you know what? Like, I want to add a little bit of splash mud or something. So now we're going to get into how we actually go ahead and paint into this. So I'm going to go ahead and save this now, and it takes a bit to save, but it's good to save your work every once in a while. So this is a good time to do so. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to save it over this old one. I'm saving this to not to my D drive because this is my my solid state drive or whatever. Like it much faster. So I'm actually going to save it there, and then I copy it over to my work directory when I'm all done. So as that loads, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to brush on these textures. And this is part of the reason why people ask me, they're like, can you mask out your mud and dirt and send it to me so I can apply it to my livery? And the problem is I'm not, the reason my liveries look so good is I'm not just touching the albedo, I'm touching everything. So when I'm putting mud on the dirt or on the craft, you're getting the texture, you're getting the roughness adjustments, you're getting all of that stuff. So it's more comprehensive, cohesive, and then and as it saves, it's going to take a bit to save. I'm just going to hit pause. We import a lot of textures, got a lot of data to save. These files get big, like for Painter, it can get up to like 30, 40 gigs. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this for now. Okay, now my thing's done saving. So first thing actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that rumpled texture. So what we're going to do is we're going to bump this surface a bit. I want to make it feel like the plane's got a bit more dents in it so that it's not so smooth. You know, you get that kind of warbled metal over time. So we'll put in our faux here. I'm going to look for those textures. Oh, here they are, FF normal maps. Okay, so you know what? I'll also put these in the Google Drive. I'll when I give you the Python script, I'll also include in that drive link these normal maps because they're kind of handy, and it's it's a pain in the ass to create. I know how to do it because I bake textures in Maya or whatever, but I'll go ahead and share those with you. So if we go to the fuselage here, we're going to create a pass, texture pass, and this is we'll call this Warbled. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of all this other stuff, and we're just going to be painting normal maps. And the way that Substance Painter works on this is you take the texture that you want to use, you want to press into it, and so we'll grab this let's grab the more exaggerated one. I'm not going to worry about the aesthetics today. I'm just going to show you, I'm going to do a quick demo, and you're just going to have to trust me from the work you've seen that I do better work, but I don't want to sit here and belabor it. So you can see there, right? So if I Control Z that, you can see that I'm warbling the metal there, right? So that's a little strong. So there's two things we could do. We could put it on there, and then we could come up here, go to our normal pass, and then we could just dial the amount to taste. We'll just do that. I'm not going to use the more subtle one. We'll just go ahead and we'll say that we always want it kind of, actually, it may be a bit of a pain in the ass. So what we'll do is we'll back out of that. It's a bit extreme. I already just told you I'm not going to worry about about the look, and now I'm sitting here worrying about the look. So I want it to look good, So we'll grab the more subtle one. So let's see, we'll grab that one, and we'll just drop that on there. And I just go through here and I warble the metal, and you kind of get the idea. So you can see it's got kind of that mottled pattern, and we could take it and we could reduce the normal pass by a bit. So we can just get something more like that, right? That's cool. Looks a lot better than say that, right? That's the smooth version versus the more warbled version. Okay, so then what you might also want to do is you might want to paint some mud into this. So let's say we want to get kind of a leakage stain here, right? And so if I go to my fuselage, we're going to create a new pass. I'm going to call it staining. And I sometimes see 172s with a bit of staining there. If I go to my reference thing and I look at my extra large icons, I've got some good reference in here. What's the one with the woman crouched down? That one was really cool. Where is it? Oh, this one. Yeah. So you can see there, right? Like that type of texture. So let's say we want to put that into this, right? So we would go ahead and I don't need normals right now. I want roughness, and I want metallic, and I want color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these kind of drippy stain textures, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that in, and I'm going to drop it in as my brush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the roughness way down, or I'm going to increase the roughness because that stuff tends to be a bit more matte. I'm going to put the metallic at nothing, and then I don't want any color from it. Oh, actually I do. Actually, why don't we go ahead and say, give it a little bit of a black color, or maybe we want to use a texture. So you could put it in there and use a texture. So now I've got kind of this thing, and if I remember my hotkey, so if I hit Control, I can kind of dial that down, and I can just put that on there. So now, and so if I wanted to, let me get rid of the space. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me get rid of that. So I'm going to go, somehow I screw this up. I'm going to say roughness, metalness, and the base color. We'll use this muddy looking thing. And then we've got our brush. Let's go ahead and undo that texture work. And then now, here, watch this. So now, let's get the light kind of grazing it. So I'm just going to put it here for shits and giggles. So what you can see there is you're getting the holdout of the oh, look at the roughness isn't even all the way down. So if I decrease the roughness all the way down, let me undo that brush stroke. So let's say I want to put it right here. Actually, let me get that a bit more, a bit more opaque. What I'm trying to do is show you the, you wouldn't think that I've been doing this for a bit now. So let's say we get this lined up and we go ahead and click that on there. Why is my metal, is it because I'm not in this mode here? This should be pretty hard cut out. Yeah, there we go. I think it's because I had the, so you can see the, it's still going over top of it. What the heck is going on here? So I've got my roughness down to nothing. I got my metallic here. Oh, no, it's still blocking it out. I can block that out. I'm just seeing if it's affecting it. It just seems like it's not having much of an effect, but maybe this brush just isn't great. In any case, you kind of get the idea. let me show you with another one. So let me grab this guy here. We'll drop him in there, and then if I wanted to drop, sometimes I'll put like a little oil splooge here. Let me just see if I can punch that through. There we go. So you can see, I guess it's just because that HDRI is just blowing through it. It's probably that sun is just crazy. But you can see I'm affecting all of the properties here, right? So this is how I would do, what I would probably do is I probably wouldn't include a base color at all. And I would just be roughening up this, this surface. So I would, let me reduce the opacity here. Let me put a little leak over here. And that's how I get those really subtle plays. I think this HDRI is just got a cranked sun is the thing. So I can block it out, but it's just, this HDRI has a really hot sun. But anyway, that's how you do that. So let's put some mud on it now. So if I go over here and I grab, let me see, faux texture. Yeah, I think I did it as texture. So let's say, let's do the wheels. So we'll do, we'll put some mud on the wheels. It's because the wheels have not been handled by the livery that we have. So we will, we'll just go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and take, we're going to create a new layer here, and I'm going to grab some of these tire track things. So let's grab this guy. So we're going to grab, we need to enable a couple of these. So normal, ambient occlusion, metal. So if I grab, this is going to be our brush, and then I think, let's see, so this one belongs to this one belongs to this one belongs to these. So now if I grab, this is the roughness, let's see here, just making sure I grab from the same texture set. No, it's this guy. Okay, so this guy is base color. Let's see, what is this? This is ambient occlusion. What's this? This is displacement we're not using. We got normals. Oh, that was interesting. Anyway, normals, and then roughness. Roughness, where was the metalness? That's weird. Okay, so, well, for metalness, it's going to be nothing. So we don't want any metallic quality. Let's go ahead and let's increase our opacity. So now I've got kind of this tire tread. And if I go ahead and press that on, there, so you get some, sorry, my center pivot is a little weird here. That's what happens when you move stuff away from the origin. Oh, God. I think there's a way in Substance for me to change that. So anyway, let me go ahead and rotate this guy. We'll put just a bit of mud. So you can see we're getting all the properties coming through there. And that's kind of what you want to do is you want to, press this stuff through. Great. It might be that you end up with, that you want to throw fingerprints on and stuff like that. Fortunately, the base package of Substance has some nice fingerprints and stuff like that. So if I do alpha fingerprints, so these are some of the ones that I was using for my livery. So if I go get off a wheel static here and I go back to Fuselage, and we do a new pass, and I get rid of, I don't want to paint on all of these properties. I want to paint on the roughness only. So I just want to throw some fingerprints on there. If I take, let's say we got a streak or something like that. Let's say they got attacked by zombies. So now if I can put fingerprints on there, so now you can see we got some nice fingerprint play there. See, it works really, really well. It's so nice. But you just got to spend the time going in and covering it all, giving it a history, right? Like you have to look at your reference, find reasons to put things into this stuff. Let's see, what else can I show you? I think we're kind of getting to the point where you kind of get the idea in terms of how this goes. So now we've added the wheel. What we're going to do is let's go ahead and export our textures out. We'll get this back into the sim, and I'll show you how to add the wheels to that livery that we borrowed and how to get that all in. What is going on with my tail back here? So let's check out what's going on with there. If we go back to tail landing, I probably grabbed the wrong texture. Yeah, I got a couple of these. Oh no, the PNGs are okay. Normal has the albedo, that's the problem. So, what? Faux, let's see, tail. So what I want is this guy. There we go. So it was just the wrong normals. There we go. Okay, so great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say File, Export Textures, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to our livery directory. Sorry, we're going to go to where we're working. So liveries C172 and Substance export. That's what we want. So let me grab that. I want to make sure that that is an empty directory because I don't think it's showing me. Oh, by the way, PureRef is fantastic for storing your ref. So if I open this up, you get to see, if I move this over here, PureRef allows you to kind of store all your reference in, and it's all resolution independent. It's a really, really great tool to just store your reference in one file. And you can drop web links in here and stuff. It's a free tool, it's great, but you can see that like some of these are higher resolution images, and you can continue to go in. So, or you can move these around, you can scale them and all that. It's a really, really cool tool. It's great for working. But it's a little hard to get used to learning, but it's great. It's great. Super duper handy. So, where was I? Oh, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a texture export. I just want to make sure that that was empty. So texture, substance export. Yeah, we got a ton of files in here. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff so that we do not confuse ourselves. Shift delete, get rid of all that stuff. And now this is where we're going to drop our stuff. We do not want all of this stuff. So we're going to get rid of some of these things. Actually, you know what? I want to go through and make a couple of changes here. So wheel static, I actually want that. I forgot I haven't set the texture settings in terms of the size. Texture set, those can be 2K wheels, and then tail landing, I will do 4K. Struts can be 2K. Fuselage can be 4K, and wings can be 4K. And we can go ahead and say File, Export Textures. We're going to export to our livery area, Liveries, C172, Substance Export. I'm going to select that folder. Let's get fuselage, glass, lights, livery. Let's see here. What do we want? We want struts, tail landing, wheel static, wings, and fuselage. Is that tail landing, wings, and fuselage? Sure. Actually, we'll do struts too, because I will come back and work on this some more. So let's go ahead and export that stuff out for now. And exporting to the right thing. The configuration is wrong. We want our MSFS packed. So I want to change this to my MSFS packed. This is my configuration that gets the ambient occlusion packed into the red channel, the roughness into the green, and the metallic into the blue. So for the ORM, and then the normals. So we can go back, and we're all good here. We can even up-res some of these. Like I can up-res and get them out at 8K, which was apparently experimental in 2017. So we'll just do 4K. I'm going to go ahead and pause the vid while this exports, and then we'll show how to get it all plugged in and get going. Okay, and that's finished up, and we're all good here. I'm going to go ahead and save my file. And while that goes ahead and saves, I am going to check out. So here's our substance export. So now we're ready to convert these to DDS and PNGs to get it back into the sim. So we're going to want to use our MSF texture toolbox, which means we need a Windows PowerShell. Do we still have ours open? No, we do not. So I'm going to hit my Windows key. I'm going to type in PowerShell, and I'm going to run as administrator. Yep. And then I can go ahead and now quit my session now that that's saved. All right, and we've got our Windows PowerShell over here. We're going to go to our faux flights, work, livery, MS toolbox. And now what we want to do is we want to do a PNG to DDS. And let me just double check that script. So because if you remember, we have the albedo norm and all that stuff. We have all the craziness that has to happen. So tools, oh no, that's not right. MSFS toolbox. PNG to original PNG to DDS, and then so let's see. It looks like I've already edited one. I bet the original is probably the ANC, and so if I edit this one, let's see what this is looking for. It's looking for norm, albedo, and comp. Okay, so I already have changed this to work for the Skyhawk. So what we can do is we can do PNG to DDS. Hit enter. We want to run once, and then I want to give it my substance export directory. I'm going to copy that, and then that's going to go through, and that's going to do all of our conversions. You can ignore that error that has to do with a certain check that it's doing, which I think there's an image magic feature that isn't in there. It doesn't matter. It's working fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this while this runs, and then we'll hook this in and get ourselves going. Okay, great. And that's finished now. So now if we look in our substance export directory and we sort by type, we now have our PNGs that we originally exported out of substance, and we now have our DDS files and our PNG DDS files. So all of these have been exported. Let me just double check that against, I'm going to pull this over here, and then let's check it against the, let's see, sim objects, flights blue, airplanes, texture. So let me just double check our naming convention against here. It looks like we have ended up with an unfortunate situation here where we don't have our name with the airframe and whatnot on there. That is a pain. So I am going to go ahead and fix that. So the way we'll fix that is, let's go ahead and, I don't want to write a script here in front of you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and just do this again. So we still have our substance. Oh wait, what did I just do? Oh, okay, substance export. Okay, phew. Jeez, I thought I deleted everything in my MSFS toolbox. All right, great, yeah. So the substance export, we're good. We don't, that's fine. So now we're gonna relaunch substance. I'm gonna pause for a second while I get this back up, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. This is actually good that we hit this issue. I'm loading it up right now. So this is good that we hit this issue. It means, so what we want to do, as I said before, the pass names matter, right? And they haven't named the materials based similar to what it's expecting. There's airframe in here. We can add in the C172 SP portion, but we could do that. What we could do is we could on the export, we could change the configuration to have that, but it's looking for texture set name. So I want to rename my texture sets to have the proper extension that it's going to look for. So that way I don't have to deal with this garbage. So on the, here, let me see if I can just move this to the side so that way I can actually see what I'm doing here. So what we want is, if I come in here, this is going to be just a second here. So we're going to do C172 SP underscore airframe. And I'll probably write something that just helps with the rename or whatever. I just don't want to do that right now. So airframe, because it's not going to help you get around it in the future, honestly. So, so the fuselage is part of the airframe. That's good. So let's get we'll go one by one here. So we've got the livery color, prop slow. We're going to be outputting the tail landing. Let's go ahead and I think the wings would have it as well. And then do the wheel static get it as well? I suspect maybe not. Let's check the, these have to correspond, these names have to correspond to the paths that Asobo put in there. So if you don't find the texture that you want, or the texture name in the delivery that you downloaded, if you go to your original textures that you outputted, you should be able to find them. So we want wheel static is also part of the airframe. Sometimes they're not airframe, right? Like sometimes they're, they get sloppy with the naming or something. So you just got to double check here. It looks like all of these, yeah, actually some of these are not. So, so we've got airframe wings, we've got airframe wheel static, we've got airframe tail landing, we have airframe fuselage. Is there anything else that we painted that we want to get out? I'm not going to worry about struts right now, so I'm just going to do this quick demo. So we'll do export textures. So now that helps us with, oh, we were exporting the struts, so we'll do the struts as well. And we'll add the struts and the tires to the livery. So if you notice, the wheel static are not part of that livery, neither are the struts, so we'll have to add those in. And now we can say export textures, re-export to Substance. We're going to export it with the full name now, and then our script will create useful stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pause while this goes and runs. Okay, and that's now run, so we're all good. So that's now exported. We can go ahead and let's go ahead and save that. And while that saves, what I'll show you is the result. So if we get out of our original textures, we go to our Substance export. Now we have something that when we run that PowerShell script, it's going to name them properly. So let's go ahead and rerun that. So run once, and we're going to run it on this directory. And it's going to go ahead and run those. I'll go ahead and pause the vid, but you can see it's starting to create those. I'll pause the vid now, and I'll unpause in a second. I guess I could show you a little bit of pure ref while that thing runs. So if you right-click, you'll get the menu here, and you can do all sorts of things. Like you can arrange the images however you want. You can also do you can put this on top as a ghost mode if you're trying to trace a livery. You could put this over Photoshop or something like that. It's just you move the window around with the right key or the right mouse button. You zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. Left mouse button selects objects in here, and if you hold right mouse button, you should get a menu in here. Middle mouse, I guess it's middle mouse button to move around, and then right mouse button to move the whole thing. It's just a little clunky, and the interface gets used. People have to get used to it, but in terms of holding reference and stuff and organizing, and you can put labels on here, and you can collaborate with other people. Anyway, PureRef's a fantastic tool if you haven't stumbled over it. It's great. So, and free. This has been exported. So now in our Substance export area, let's go ahead and grab, actually I still want to compare against, want to make sure that these all get named based on how the texture is going to expect them. So tail ending comp PNG DDS, these all look great. What should happen here is if we sort by type and we grab all the JSONs and the paint.images and we Control C and we come in here to our texture set and we paste, we should get a replacement. And that will tell you that you've named them the right way. So let's go ahead and replace those files. And as well, what you can see here is we've got a couple of additional, looks like they've got some other textures in here that we didn't touch, but we also have struts and wheel static that we have to add to the livery. So let's go back to our layout JSON, and we're going to basically create an entry for these that we can add to this livery. So we'll get the albedo comp. Let's grab the floaters. So we'll grab the floater here. I'll copy that. I like to paste it into a new one, and then I do my work over here. So floaters we can replace with, actually let's replace all floaters with strut. Replace all those. And then we want normals as well. So I'm going to go ahead and append to here, and we'll do norm. Great. And then we're going to go ahead and take all that, copy it, and we'll go ahead and we will paste that right here at the top. And again, you need to be careful about keeping the structure. Syntax matters. So then now we can use the same thing for the wheel static. So if I do replace, I can replace strut with wheel static. And we'll go ahead and copy this. And we'll come back into our layout JSON. And after struts, we will put in, I like to keep the stuff that I add at the top. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to save that config file. And so now we should have our textures in the right place. We should have the proper thing. And let me go ahead and fire up my add-on linker. So in the my add-on linker came up over here. So now I'm going to disable the old blue-orange. I'll do a add-on linker thing. I use it in a highly organized fashion, and it saves me a ton, especially with all my VR stuff. So at some point I'll do a add-on linker, but I'm linking the add-on. So now we've got our Fuselage blue is going to load with MSFS. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up MSFS. And then fingers crossed, we should see our livery in the list, and we can load it up and we can take a look at it. So I'm going to pause while we wait 30 minutes for Microsoft Flight Simulator to load. Okay, we forgot actually to do something here. I launched up Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I forgot that this thing has a whole bunch of types. So we adjusted the floats, but we need to create these texture. It's not the floats that we want. We want to. We don't have. What we did was, if we go into sim objects, airplanes, we put them into this Fuselage blue. And then the thing is that these floats, we changed the floaters on the floats. So we then added these textures which don't exist here in this float thing. So I just was sloppy what I grabbed there. That was an accident. So if we go to airplanes and we go to texture, these have to go into this Fuselage blue. Sorry. They need to go into this thing here. So all we do is we grab that, whatever we did there. So we grab the wheel static and the strut. I just was stupid grabbing the floaters because the floaters are not in most of the liveries. So we're going to copy that. So I copied it, and I'm going to paste it back in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do edit, replace, and I'm going to replace the floats with whatever this name is. So we want, we don't want, we want to replace AF underscore C 172 SP, sorry, I lost my place. Fuselage blue floats with, I guess I should have just written all that out. So actually, let's do this. Let's do this in a bit more of a scientific way. We'll grab this just so that we don't end up with typos. And we'll also grab this name, and I will put it here. All right, so I'm going to replace all here. And then now if we grab that stuff and we put it back into our layout JSON, now we've got it actually pointing at something that it'll find. So the other thing I noticed is that, let me go ahead. We have probably added some additional textures here in terms of the fuselage comp. I don't know that, oh no, fuselage norm is in there. The fuselage norm is in there. Let's see, is the wings norm. I just want to make sure normals, comp, albedo. Okay, that's all great. All right, great. So that thing is all set. And then I also noticed when I was in there that it still had the old name when I launched it up. So I'm going to go to liveries, Fuselage blue. I dropped all these in the right place, right? The Fuselage blue directory. Here, let me check. Now I'm getting paranoid. Oh, no, of course, because I'm grabbing my path there. Sorry, it's been a long demo. So sim objects, airplanes. Oh, wait, sorry. What I wanted to do was look at the manifest JSON, Fuselage blue, classic. That's all good. And then let me just double check. Aircraft config, classic, Fuselage blue, Skyhawk 172. I think this is all good. So, all right, let's go ahead and fire this up and we'll give this a try now. Okay, and we fired up the simulator and it failed again. And the reason it failed is because when we put these textures in, we put them in the BC0 or in the was it BO01. If you look, there's these WB sim textures with the WB in there, and that's, we just grabbed from the, well, not we, I grabbed from the wrong thing again. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get rid of the stuff that we added, and we're gonna fix this one more time. So I'm gonna get it back here. I'm gonna go over here to where we were. We're gonna get rid of this texture. I'm gonna do edit, replace. We're gonna replace that with what we want, which is, we're dropping our textures here. This is what it should be looking for. So this is just my carelessness, not grabbing from the right portion that of the layout JSON. And this is why I really just want to overhaul this with some automated scripts so that you don't get into this. I'm going to pause again, and we'll go ahead and relaunch, and we'll see where that leaves us. Let's just double check that name. Yep, looks like it should work. Yep, let's see what happens here. And I just want to show you one more thing that we're doing is on all of these WB Sim ones, my little script that ran did not replace this because it's got a WB in it. So we are now putting in the faux flights blue just on the aircraft configs. I just did them for the I just did it for the other ones. So now when we see it, it should all be proper. These ones had it got caught by my script, but because these had WB in it, when we ran that earlier at the start of the demo, my little Python script didn't get to them. So I fixed those. So now we should be all good to launch, and I'll be with you in a moment. All right, surprise, surprise. We have one more thing that I screwed up on. And this, when I launched up the sim, I didn't even see any of the livery come up, whereas before I was seeing it. And that's because I have a typo in here. That should be struts, not strut. Again, this is why getting this scripted is going to make this much better. If we fix these, in theory, we should be good, but I've said that a couple times now, so I'm going to pause it, and we'll take another roll of the dice here. One moment. Okay, we launched again. I had another issue, so somehow I got flags here. This should be JSON. It's because of my copy-paste slop from earlier with the floats. These should be JSONs, JSONs, JSONs. So that all works. This is wheel static, should be JSONs. When I grabbed that float stuff, I really hosed myself. So JSON, JSON, and then floaters. That's not my business. So that's actually, see here, sim objects. Let me just double check these floaters. Where's the floaters? Floaters, floats, texture. DDS flags, and then they've got JSONs. I see. So these flags are, yeah. It's just me being sloppy. You really only need the JSON and the DDS. I don't know why I grabbed that flags. So anyway, we'll go ahead and fire it up, and we'll take another look. I will mention at this point, this is why most of your problems are going to be in this layout JSON. If you're loading up in the sim and you don't see it, not because you painted the textures wrong or anything like that. It's probably that you are pathed to something wrong that's breaking it. So just give me 1 second here. So it's also worth noting, this is why you don't want to do too many steps too quickly. It would have been better for me to have done the work to the layout JSON and everything before we got into texture painting, just to make sure that the livery was coming in properly. Let me see if this is showing up yet. Change aircraft. We're working on the WB sim. I have not checked this one yet. I'm optimistic because we see it there. Let's see, liveries. Still showing up as blue and orange. Let me see. Okay, give me a minute to look into this again. Okay, actually, even though it's blue-orange, I can actually see, if we go to our thing here, you can actually see the muddy front tire. The textures are coming in properly. So let's go ahead and load this in. We'll go ahead and take a look at it in the, let's go back. We'll go ahead and launch it and just take a quick peek at this thing. If you notice, I always go to Catalina. It's my go-to spot. And I always go to parking spot number 6. And we'll just take a quick look at the textures. It looks like the textures are showing up. The fact that it's coming up as blue and orange means that the labeling inside of one of the, probably the manifest or something like that, still says blue and orange. So if you dug through those text files, eventually you'd find that label. And you want to change that to like Fuselage blue or whatever. But I don't want to belabor this. And if we've got the textures coming in as part of the livery, hopefully you're okay with going through and rectifying the other portions. And this hopefully just shows that this process works. So let's go ahead and get camera here. We'll go to showcase mode. Let's go ahead to, I don't want the zoom level. I want the, change the drone speed. And then we'll change the rotation speed. Because if I start navigating with this drone speed hyper, it's going to piss me off. No doubt it always does. So, all right, let's try, yeah, see, this is, so let's go ahead and get our weather up here. And then let's go to a, change away from live weather. And let's just change the sun here and see if I don't see our texture work, but that was a little bit more subtle. Let's just check the wheel. So there's your wheel with the normal maps coming on and everything, with the normals and the texture. So, and I can't remember what we did. I think the normal maps and the other work I did was maybe too subtle. But in any case, I can't remember if I did anything bold in here. I think I can see that ring pattern in there. Be nice if I had done something a little bolder. Let's see here. I don't see any of that texture stuff that we did. In any case, this makes me happy. Let me spend one moment. If I can't figure it out quickly, I will we'll just wrap up the video. So I'll take one more moment here. Okay, so culprit number 1, in terms of the coming in with the proper label, it looks like the WB Sim ones that I just had to modify that my script didn't get to. When we open up those aircraft configs, you can see it says blue and orange here. So what we're going to do is change this to Fuselage blue. Fuselage blue. We'll copy that. And from what I can tell, I think actually we just did too subtle of work. So we'll jump in and take another look. Again, it's just slop on my part. But this is, I mean, you're going to have some slop too. This stuff is punishing. There's a reason why I said in my first video that within the first couple minutes, I think I said that like you're going to get familiar with those files, and it is not a good thing. It is a pain to get in here, and I will write some more helpful scripts that foolproof some of this stuff. So, and now we should actually see it come up with the proper name in the sim. And as I said, I think actually I believe that it's actually working properly. We'll double check, but when I went in and actually looked at the texture work, it was very, very subtle in terms of what we did. So, and I believe that's actually getting picked up. But we'll check for those fingerprints. So I'm going to pause video one more time. All right, we just launched in. Let's take a look, see what we got. So we go to my hangar, and let's go to liveries. I can see the dirty wheel, and hey, look at that. We got Fuselage blue. So let me see if we get. Oh, that's interesting. I only have the classic. I don't have the other skis and whatnot. So, in any case, you get kind of the gist of this. Let's actually go back and let's just double check in the sim and see if we can see those. we can see those fingerprints. But the Kodiak and this WB Sim, like, it's not straightforward. When I worked on the Navion, it was super easy, right? Because there's not a lot of like variants or whatever. Some of the aircrafts I've been choosing, like the Comanche Kodiak and the WB Sim, like once you get into all those variants, that's where you really get tripped up. On a simple plane, on a simple livery, it should be much more straightforward. And I've done some on those more simple craft. If I was just working, if I wasn't doing the Asobo, if I was just doing the Asobo and I wasn't doing the WB Sim, this wouldn't be an issue. It'd probably be a little bit more streamlined, but there's a lot of kind of dependencies between those. So let's go ahead and turn off live weather so we can see what we got. My rotation speed is dreadfully slow. Oh my gosh. Oh, drone speed, sorry. Rotation speed. Man, I am still not seeing that. Oh, there they are. Oh, thank goodness. There they are. There they are right there. So our fingerprints are coming in. It's just that it's really, really subtle. So I believe all of this is working now. We've got a pants version with the dirty tire. I would have to look into why the other variants aren't working. Hopefully this gives you enough confidence that you can wander into a more simple aircraft and start doing your work and getting your textures into there. As I said, the normal maps are coming in here, and and as you saw, the PBR textures are coming in for the comp textures. Hopefully this helps in addition to the other video. And I want to thank you, everybody, for their support. I hope you guys create great liveries. I will keep you updated with scripts. I'm going to go ahead and attach my Python file, and I'll give you those 2 normal maps for the Warbled metal. I'll also include a link to Quixel and to Texture Haven. Again, if you had an Epic Unreal account, you might want to do some Unreal work, because those textures are free to download from Quixel through the bridge. And if they wander into other work, who knows? Anyway, cheers and happy flying.